Hi everybody, this is Dr. Nichols-Boyle again, and I'm going to show you how to create your first blog post and do a few things within your blog, like set up your About Me and your labels. So we'll work on those couple of issues. So again, I would recommend printing this out from the modules, the Brand Your Blog First Post instructions, so you can kind of follow along as you go through this. And we'll get into other features next week, but these are just the basics. So when you get into your blogging dashboard, when you go ahead and log in, you'll have your blogs end up here. Most of you only have the one. And as it says here in the first one, you're going to click on this drop-down menu next to View Blog and go to Settings. And that should default to this Basic tab here. You can always get to this same section by clicking on Design from within your blog, which is how you get back here. We worked out the template settings last time. This time we're going to be in the settings first. So the first thing you want to do is add a description to your blog. So you have your title here, then the description is the line that will appear under it in that header. So you can kind of think about it as the title is like your headline and description is like your lead. Except for the description doesn't even need to be necessarily a complete sentence. It's more of kind of a tagline. And it shouldn't be, even though it allows 500 characters, you don't want it to be a big long paragraph because then it will stay permanently there at the top of your blog and people won't be able to get down to your actual post. So you want to make this kind of something that draws people in, tells them a little bit more about what the blog's point is, especially if your title is kind of catchy but doesn't really give that information. So mine might be something really simple like conversation starters and class information for W315. Something like that. All right, and save changes. And then just to show you, when you get into your blog, that will show up again right underneath the header. And you can go in and change this font in the design and the template section like you did before. But you can see how you want that to remain pretty short because you want people to be able to get into your posts. So we'll go back into the design section and work on the next steps. The other thing we want to have for this first post and for branding your blog is your About Me. So as you can see in my blog, the About Me will default usually over to the right-hand side, and it has a picture, your name, and a little bit about you. So mine here says, I'm an English lecturer who's not afraid to use technology. Yours can be a couple of sentences, no more than 3 really, because again, this permanently stays here and you don't want it to get in the way of other things that you'll have eventually in your sidebars. But just a few sentences here. So how we get to doing that, again, we go back into the design element here, and you want to click on make sure you have a Google Plus account. If you don't have a Google Plus account, you need to create one. Everyone will have a Blogger account by default, but you can do a little bit more with the Google Plus account and it allows a little bit more interactivity. So I prefer if you set up a Google Plus account. If you already have one, you might have to just change or add a little bit of information for this purposes of this class. So if you don't have a Google Plus account, you can choose it by doing the Blogger options here, this little cog. And mine says revert to Blogger profile, but yours will say something like connect to Google Plus instead, because I already have a Google Plus. So you'd click that there, and then it would take you through the steps of creating your Google Plus account. Once you actually have a Google Plus account, you can click on your thing here. If you don't have a picture yet, it'll just have that little fake person, and you can go into your account to make some of these changes. Okay. So I'm going to actually go into my profile, not my account. So Google Plus profile from there. So the Google Plus profile, it usually starts with posts. We want to go back to the About section here. So again, we're going from here, you're clicking on it, go to Google Plus profile, and that will take you to this page, and we want to go to the About section. Okay, So in the About section, there's a lot of places where you can add information. You can do things about your work and your skills and employment, education, all those kinds of things. None of that will show up in your blog. If someone chooses to click on your full profile, they will see that, and it defaults to public, so be careful about what you put there. But what will only show up on your blog is the part that's in this introduction in the story section. So that's the part that you want to change. In order to change that and put in some information there, you'll go to Edit under Story, and just write whatever you want in your introduction section. And as I said in the descriptions here, I'm not looking for really personal information. It shouldn't be, how if you're married or have a boyfriend or have kids or that kind of thing. Really just some idea of who you are. Something that will attract people's attentions. Maybe your hobbies, what makes you interesting, and really why people should listen to you on this topic. So just a couple of sentences here. And this will appear as your About Me. Right? So then once you have that there, you can save it. Make sure it's public. And then again, that will appear in your blogger, in your blog as your profile, as your About Me. You should also add a profile picture here. Again, in order to do this, you just hover over where the picture is, and this might just be an outline of a person if you don't have anything yet, and you click Change Profile Picture, and then you have a picture of yourself or of anything else. It doesn't have to be a picture of yourself. Save somewhere and you drag it here or select it from your computer and set it as your profile picture. Again, I have a personal photo, but I used to just have a stack of old books. Anything that will identify you. It can be a picture that has something to do with your topic or something that you just think is interesting and would identify you. It does not have to be a personal picture, but something that will help people know when you make comments and when they're following you that this is who you are. So a picture is good for the visual interest also. So that's the other thing that you will have to change in your Google Plus profile. All right, so the next thing that we're going to work on is actually writing a new post. And your first post, this is the second one on the list here, is the About This blog, or basically telling people what your blog is about, why they should listen to you about it, what you expect out of the audience, why they should become followers. So we're going to go into the post. You can either go to posts here in this section and create a new post, or from within your blog, you can just do the same kind of thing. You can go to posts there and go up to new post here in the corner. So we'll just do that way. It takes us to the same place. We'll go new post. And the post title, it can be about this blog. It can be a little bit more creative, about writing for the web. I'll put mine. Okay. And then when you're ready to type, you can just start here. And again, you can play around a little bit with it, bold and underline, but you want to keep it pretty simple and talk a little bit about what this blog is, who you are. As I say here, explain how you came to this topic for a blog. Why are you interested in writing for the web, or some of you cheap, simple college food on a college budget? Why did you come to that? What's your personal experience? Tell an interesting, funny story, something that would help people connect to you, and what is your expertise, your unique perspective. So in other words, what's your personal interest in this topic, and why should readers want to listen to you? And then a little bit about what you hope to achieve. So do you want people to contribute their own ideas, or are you interested in taking questions from people that you would respond to? Are you going to be linking to other recipes? Whatever you kind of think that is going to be the focus. And you can come back and edit this later, but I want you to try to make this as specific and focused as possible, because as we talked about, that's what really creates good followers. So again, you can personalize it, link to some other things, but you really want the focus to be on you. And really think about who your audience is here too. So specify, is this going to be for people who have a lot of experience cooking, or for new people, just for college students, people who want to be healthier? Who do you really want to read this? And invite them to comment, invite them to interact. I'd love to hear from you about some of your ideas about cooking on a budget, or what's been successful for you, or anything you want to hear. So directly invite the reader to participate, because that's what really gets that connection going. We really want it to be interactive and form this community. And that's part of why we'll all be seeing each other's blogs, so we can have that community. All right, so I expect that the post will be about 250 words, or about half a page in Word. It can be single-spaced, left aligned like we've been working on. I said at least 2 paragraphs, but it can be many more paragraphs than that. Again, we're thinking about no more than about, 4 to 5 lines really for a paragraph, and then it gets like too much of a chunk to read. And you can still have those 1-line paragraphs as well. And because this is vlogging, it can be a little bit more formal in the way you write it also. So in any event, so we're going to be doing that here. These 2 paragraphs, keep your short paragraphs in mind. I want, it can be a little bit longer than 250 words, but we also want to work on being concise and not making it too long. So make sure that it's really broken up if it is a little bit longer. I want you to have at least 1 link to something. And I want you to also have a visual of some kind. So to insert, you can do a video if you want, usually an image for the first one. And you can drag, okay, got it. Again, you can upload them from something that you have already in your thing here, in your photos library or whatever. I actually have a photo section here, but it's not pulling it up at the moment. Sorry, pictures. Anyway, and you can select it, and then you can play around with it a little bit like you would for like in any other Google thing. So you can upload images that way by choosing this. Again, you can play with it. It will not necessarily display until you preview it. So make sure you kind of see it and like it where it is. The other things, you can schedule when you want it to appear if you want. Otherwise, it will just publish. You can save it and go back to work on it later. Publish it, and then you can always go back and edit. The other things that we want to work on is labels. And labels, I put a link to something on labels in your module as well. But this is basically making sure that you have descriptors. So it's like an index. So there'll be a label list that will be published in your blog that we'll work on next week a little bit too. And it will show people how to categorize your thing. So you don't want to make it too general. So I wouldn't want to do, writing for the web as a label. And these will just appear at the bottom of the post. Because what would happen then is all of mine are to do with writing for the web. So it doesn't really help much. So my label for this one might be about this blog, introduction. Something like that. Those would be my labels. A comma to separate them. You really don't want them to be more than about 5 words max, specific, that kind of thing, right? So again, once I would post this, this blog will be for students in writing for the web to have a community, etc. And I would just finish it up here. So I'm going to publish it just so you see where the labels show up, and then I can always erase or edit it later. If you want to share on Google+, we'll always give you that option. You can share it, or you can just cancel out of this. And then when I go to view the blog, here we go. And to add links is just copy and link, just like you would for anything else. So if I ever wanted to go back in and edit this, I could do that as well. It's obviously deciding to be a little bit slow today. Okay. Let's see if I can just get into, there we go. All right, so here you go. The labels will be here about this blog introduction. And if I had more than one label, like this said introduction, they would take it to that if they linked on it. And we'll have another label list here. And you'll automatically start generating a blog archive for each of your posts. Okay. And again, if I want to edit this, I can just do it from right in here, click on the pencil and edit, or I can go back in through the post section too. And just to show you, if I wanted to create a link, I would just highlight, click link, go to my web address and type in the link as well. We always want to open in a new window and hit OK. All right, so we're going to close that for now. That's okay. All right, so those are the main things. Remember also, you want to be professional. So even though it might have a little bit more informal, still no swearing, proper punctuation and grammar, active voice being concise, all of those kinds of things. You can also change your other thing you can do within your blogger profile is change your display name. So that is one thing you can do here too that I mentioned. Yeah. Yeah, so but the only thing is that it will, you click to edit your name here. If you change this, it will change it for all of your Google things, including your Gmail and everything like that. So just be aware of that if you want to change it. The last thing then is if you haven't done so already, or if you make some changes to the title or not to the web address or anything like that, which you can do, you can change, you'll need to re-invite me. So if you wanted to make any of those changes, I'll go back into the settings here in the basic. This is where you can change your blog address, your title, and your description, that basic setting there. If you change your blog address, I will no longer be invited, so you'll have to re-invite me. But just to make sure you go through the permissions again, if you have not done so already, I really need this and everyone's Gmail address so I can send that out and invite the class. So you will either don't invite me as an author because I won't be able to view it the same way. So either keep it public, in which case you just have to send me this blog address here and to my Gmail account, sfnboyle@gmail.com. And that's fine. Again, people will probably won't find it, so there's a lot more content. Or you can edit it here, make it go private, only these readers, and we talked about this before, but I'll do it again. Add readers, and you would just type in my name, sfnboyle@gmail.com, and save changes. Then it will invite me. Right? So that's it. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me about blogging stuff. You can email me my IUSB address, but send any invitations to my Gmail, otherwise I won't be able to view it. So either way, you can contact me. I'll be checking both regularly as we get into this unit.